Citra Silly Point. I'm Citra. Boy, oh boy, never did I think we'd see New Zealand's B team beat India in India and walk away with a 2-1 ODI series win, and that too, despite Virat Kohli's heroics after India won the toss and sent New Zealand to bat first in the decider. At this point, it's hard to tell who troubles India more and who's their nightmare. Is it Travis Head or is it Daryl Mitchell? Mitchell has been a recurring nightmare centuries after centuries in matches against India. He's been outstanding across all formats, but winning in India with half your squad injured or unavailable, I mean, that's something else altogether. So what exactly is going on in the Indian camp since Gautam Gambhir has become their coach? A 3-0 test series loss to New Zealand at home, which was India's first home whitewash in a very long time. A Border Gavaskar Trophy defeat in Australia, a 2-0 home test series loss to South Africa, and within those series came some truly sad, some truly grim numbers. I mean, I think India had the lowest ever home test total, 40-something all out, and their heaviest test defeat by runs, over 400 runs versus South Africa. Test cricket under Gautam Gambhir has clearly lacked spark, and now alarmingly we're starting to see that dip extend into the ODI format as well. India lost an ODI series to Sri Lanka and now to New Zealand at home against a side that was missing probably at least 4 to 6 frontline players. There was no Kane Williamson, there was no Rachin Ravindra, no Matt Henry, no Santner, and before the die-hard Gautam Gambhir fans tell me to go back to the kitchen, because I see that comment floating, because I dared to post an Instagram story questioning him, pause for a moment and look at the stats. Look at the results in tests and now ODIs during his tenure. Coaches in the past have been held accountable and even sacked for far less. So the question has to be asked, is Gautam Gambhir untouchable or simply unaccountable? Yes, India's T20 side is solid, no doubt. A T20 World Cup trophy and an Asia Cup trophy, well, they don't have the trophy physically. We'll talk about that later. But for how long can one format mask the cracks in the others? And with the T20 World Cup around the corner, let's see for how long. I'm not saying he needs to be sacked immediately, but I think it's high time that the stubbornness in his approach loosened up a bit, or else we all recently witnessed where England ended up with sticking to basketball approach. Regardless of the result of this decider between India and New Zealand, I must say this was an exciting match for the crowd to witness. There were 3 centuries, a couple of 50s, with one being a blistering 50, and the series decider to top it all. The Kiwis were at 50-something for 3 when Glenn Phillips came to bat alongside Daryl Mitchell, and the two added over 200 runs. Mitchell scored a century in the previous outing as well, and I think an 80-something in the first ODI. He's been in sublime form against India, and with the 80-something ball, 183 I think, from Glenn Phillips, it looked like the Kiwis would post a total well over 350, but Indian bowlers were able to pull back, albeit were expensive most of the game except for Siraj when you look at their economy. Haris Rana, well, they both are run machines for their respective countries, pardon me. Harshit Rana, putting aside his batting cameo, he did concede 84 runs alone in this match. Kuldeep Yadav also looked ineffective, likely because of all the IPLs the Kiwis have played in and participated in. It is safe to say that although the IPL has benefited India in terms of identifying talent, allowing that pool of talent to share locker rooms and play next to international players, it has also allowed the international players to become quite accustomed to playing in Indian conditions and beat India in their own backyard. And as much as we would like to praise New Zealand's batting, it has got to be their fielding really that has pulled them out of many situations more often than not. I mean, at one point with Kohli and Harshit Rana going strong, it looked like the game was going to go till the end. But it was a stunning catch by But it was a stunning catch by Nichols to remove Harshit Rana that brought the Kiwis back into the game. And I mean, not that they were ever out of the game. And I don't know about you, but pretty much every few weeks there's a video trending of a Kiwi taking absolutely jaw-dropping blinder of catches, showing remarkable athleticism. They're at another level, really, right, when it comes to fitness, and it shows, it reflects in their fielding. India, on the other hand, has Virat Kohli, who is no doubt in a league of his own. And even now can be on the field for half the day and then can go bat 50 overs, no problem. But he's probably the only one in the side, except maybe Ravindra Jadeja, but he's been struggling. But you can see a difference in everyone else when you compare with Kohli. Harshit Rana, being a fast bowler, looked quite awkward while running with Kohli, but credit to him for the cameo he played alongside Kohli. This was a defeat indeed, and a rare chase that Kohli couldn't complete, but you have to acknowledge his demeanor throughout the match. No typical jump in the air celebrations when he reached a stun, and no dramatic exit when he was caught and long gone. I'm all about expressing your emotions, but I think his demeanor expressed where he's at in terms of his headspace. You know, he's not feeling any pressure, and he gave it his all, and then went about his evening chatting up with players from his team and the opposition's. And I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but I think it is important for me to talk about the latest BCB versus BCCI/ICC saga and Bangladesh's stance regarding participation in the T20 World Cup, citing safety concerns. I've always tried to speak of cricket as a fan of the sport, but maybe I should make a video on the hateful messages I received on the video I made on the Asia Cup final, but I probably cannot even show 95% of them. I mean, I welcome feedback and suggestions, and for those who followed my channel from the very beginning, you would notice I've tried to incorporate your feedback, whether it's about the use of technology, which I still struggle with to this day, or the topics to talk about, etc. And I'm not playing a victim here, but it's always easy to say inappropriate things behind an ambiguous username, and frankly, it reflects more on them than me. Anyhow, nonetheless, we are in this mess, and we are 3 weeks away from the T20 World Cup. And before I get into the specifics of the BCB versus the ICC situation, I want to shed some light on the ICC chairman, Jay Shah, and the chaos cricket has been in since he took office. I mean, he became the chairman during the Champions Trophy debate, and I think he fails to remember, more often than not, whether deliberate or otherwise, that he is no longer the chairman of the BCC, but of an international governing body that overlooks strategic interests of cricket in all the countries, including India, but not just of India. And yes, the country with the most eyeballs and the most revenue generating is India, but there has been a huge rise in performative politics and politics governing ICC events blatantly in plain sight since he's taken office. Not saying this didn't happen before, but I think Jay Shah suited the BCCI, where with the help of his political ties, he was able to achieve big things, but that mindset carrying over to the ICC has just turned cricket into a big spectacle. I mean, one after another, every ICC event or a major tournament is now threatened with political interference, with political theatrics, political exchanges, and decisions driven solely by politics. To think the BCB is having a knee-jerk reaction would be unfair, because just a few months ago during the Asia Cup, the Indian captain Suryakumar Yadav refused to shake hands at the toss with Pakistani captain Salman Ali Agha, as if somehow any political unrest between the two countries was because of Salman or the Pakistani players, or that by not shaking hands, it brought peace or justice to those impacted. I mean, as kids, we were pushed to be in sports, to play sports, because it creates camaraderie and long-lasting relationships. But what's transpiring now in the world of cricket is the complete opposite. Going back to my point on the ICC chairman, Jay Shah, have you seen him attend a match where India wasn't playing? Yeah, you may say the World Test Championship final between Australia and South Africa. But then did you see the video or the reel released? I mean, he would basically behave like a social media influencer or content creator, showcasing himself in pretty much 90% of the video and barely showing the players, Australian or South Africans, who made history and won the Test Championship final. And it was a collaboration post, so you can say he didn't know what was in the video. You should check it out if you haven't already. It's on the ICC social media page. You probably have to scroll down to get to it. I haven't seen Jay Shah attend a match between associate nations. And if I'm wrong, please correct me, but he's never visited a match played, let's say, by Canada. I didn't see him in the US since the existing board was ousted due to corruption when ICC is the governing body. I've never seen him sit through a match in a bilateral series involving nations other than India. But here he was casually hanging out in the first ODI between India and New Zealand just a few days ago. And before you say that he lives in India or that these are just ceremonial visits in nature, they're not good enough excuses. My question is, what has he done in his tenure to help address the political concerns? If anything, political involvement has grown immensely from all sorts. We saw the Champions Trophy fiasco where India refused to travel to Pakistan yet again, when everyone and their cousin in the cricketing world have already traveled to Pakistan for bilateral series or the Champions Trophy itself. And in that event, we saw players from different nations complaining of unfair travel advantages for India who didn't even drive to another stadium in the UAE. I mean, it was one stadium that they played at. Jay Shah himself skipped the curtain raiser event for Champions Trophy, for the tournament, for the Champions Trophy in Lahore in Pakistan. And you were the ICC chairman. Then came the debacle in a complete display of politics during the Asia Cup, starting with the Indian T20 captain, Surya Kumar Yadav, and then the Indian team refusing to shake hands with the Pakistani captain and the players, followed by a completely politically driven post-match conference speech by Surya Kumar. Then the gestures displayed by both Pakistani and Indian players during the matches. Even though the players were reprimanded, it didn't end there. I mean, the Indian captain and the team refused to collect the trophy from Mohsin Naqvi, who's the ACC president. I mean, what kind of Desi drama am I witnessing here? And how many episodes will this go on for? The BCCI has used the safety concern excuse for years and years against Pakistan. What makes it different if Bangladesh uses the same reason, the very same excuse to not travel to India? Especially when the BCCI directed the IPL team owner to release Mustafizur on the very basis of safety concerns. Seems like a simple case of apples versus apples here. And again, I understand it is difficult to ship the matches to Sri Lanka or another place in the world, but wasn't it the BCCI who always relentlessly pushed the idea that their government has advised them not to travel to Pakistan due to safety concerns? And this is used over and over again to consistently deny playing in Pakistan. Isn't this why Pakistani players are also not part of the IPL? I mean, again, not talking about the financial, the administrative, and logistical concerns of shifting matches during the World Cup, but what makes it okay for India to use the excuse and not for Bangladesh or not for Pakistan or for any other nation in the future? Before someone says Bikaristan or Bangladesh or Bangladesh in the comments to me, the very letter Bangladesh received from the ICC or an independent body assessing safety concerns for the ICC that the Bangladeshi minister brought forward quite literally stated that if Bangladesh were to travel to India, they shouldn't include Mustafizur Rahman in their squad. What? The letter also stated if matches were held in India, then the Bangladeshi fans cannot wear Bangladeshi team shirts when attending the matches. What? And to top it off, it stated that there are going to be safety concerns if Bangladesh holds their elections during the World Cup. I mean, how much more political can this get? Whether this correspondence was supposed to become public or not, the fact of the matter is, it is all politics and nothing has been done to alleviate it. In time of making this video though, Bangladesh has apparently been given 2 days, well now a day, left to rethink if they still want to travel to India for the World Cup, even though from the looks of it, they seem quite firm on their stance of not traveling to India. But how easily would a test playing nation be replaced with another country in the tournament? What would this do in the long term in building relationships and serving the sport? What does it say about the ICC in standing true to its principles? And what does it say about the ICC accommodating for the higher revenue generating nations versus those that are lesser? What does it say about the ICC being a governing body for all nations involved in cricket? I mean, you have what, 12 test playing nations in total, out of which 4 cannot stand each other? How can Jay Shah and the ICC think about bringing cricket to a global event like the Olympics when they cannot resolve matters with their neighboring countries? As I said before, players around the world have raised concerns over travel after the Champions Trophy. I think it was Sri Lankan and I think South African players, I could be wrong, that raised concerns regarding travel fatigue. We've heard English commentators raising concerns and asking for neutral venues for these tournaments. A West Indian player recently also highlighted it isn't right to have certain players not be allowed to play for certain teams. I mean, you have the Women's T20 World Cup later this year, then the ODI World Cup and Asia Cup next year. Where are we headed? What Jay Shah and the ICC plan to do that is fair to all cricketing nations, regardless of the revenue it generates? What will they do to protect the game of cricket and not let it be corrupted at the hands of politics? I mean, in a perfect world, you would like to think Jay Shah, the BCCI, and the ICC would set an example of bringing the subcontinental nations together in the game they all love. You would like to think Jay Shah would put his BCCI experience to good use in understanding the pain points and issues in the subcontinent. You would think Jay Shah would understand the intricacies of politics and its involvement, both good and bad, and perhaps act like a big brother and be a beacon of light rather than creating further divides between nations. But then that would be a perfect world, and this isn't. And unfortunately, this is a world that is seeing boards frustrated out of their minds with BCCI's control over cricket. It is a world where, give or take, for 3 months prior to every cricket tournament, there's back and forth on where India will play and where Pakistan will play. But there will definitely be a Pakistan versus India match up front within the first week of the tournament, even if the two nations are shaking hands. And now we will also have to wait to see where Bangladesh will play. I mean, it is a world where fans are left confused as to whether they should even be buying tickets and making travel arrangements if they're traveling from different parts of the world. And we're what, 3 weeks away from the tournament. It is a world where watching the first ODI of a bilateral series between India and New Zealand is more important for the ICC chairman than working to build relationships with neighboring countries. So as fans, we shall wait. We shall wait to see how the saga between the BCB and the ICC unfolds. And until then, please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.